Good evening, students. Good evening, Kiran, Sudhanshu, Bhumika, Singh, Rajiv Kumar, Ustad Singh, Diksha, Subhashri, Shivangini, and all others. So, Kiran, are you listening? Kiran, are you hearing me? There was a query in your last session. There was a query from your side, and I had explained it. Have you got your answer? Have you got your answer? You were not responding on that day. Yes, Kiran. If you are listening, do drop a mail. Yes, good evening, Shubham, T. Hari Prasad. Yes, okay, Kiran. You have got. So that's fine enough. So what is your query, Himanshu? Will take after we finish uh, this last part of chapter. So students, now we are into our last leg of this chapter, risk assessment and internal control. So today, students, I hope that all the topics are more or less clear to you. Basic understanding is clear to you. And I also expect that you should have gone, you may have gone through the contents of your module to better your understanding. Okay. So today we shall be discussing about internal audit. Now, what is internal audit? You might have learnt a little bit of this term in some previous chapter, or you might have heard it, or you just have made a cursory glance over it. So today we shall be discussing about internal audit. What does it mean? What is it? What is its scope? What function does an internal auditor perform? And what are the mandatory law requirements as per Companies Act 2013 to appoint internal auditor? Who can be appointed internal auditor? So all these things we shall be discussing today. So the main thrust in today's lecture would be on the internal audit. Rest are two small topics, and thereafter we shall be taking your queries, any queries, and we shall be also taking up some MCQs. Okay. So fine enough, guys. Yes, welcome all others who have joined in. So students, what is internal audit? So again, I ask from all of you guys, what is internal audit? Just tell me from your plain common sense what you understand by internal audit till now. What is your understanding? Do not go by what is written in your module. Just write down what is your understanding. And if you do not understand it, or if it is a new term for you, then just drop a mail. We do not know. Be honest. Be honest to yourself and be honest to me also. Yes, guys. What is your understanding? Yes, Darshan, you are writing auditing by a person within the firm. Yes, to some extent it is true. It is partly true. Audit done by management of the company. That is a little bit off the mark. Malay, Himanshu, constantly examination of books by management. Internal audit, Shubham, internal audit is audit conducted by company itself. Slightly off the mark. Off the mark. Bhumika, audit of internal structure of an, how do they get their raw materials? No, that is totally off the mark. Mohit Saini, audit without audit report. Yes, I like it. And Syed, obtaining assurance whether internal control is consistent. Yes, it is part of that. So Shivangini, internal audit is checking the financial statement by persons within the company. Yes, little bit. So guys, the basic thing is that you have got some idea of what internal audit is all about. So internal audit, guys, it basically stands upon three pillars. What are those three pillars? It helps in improving governance mechanism of the company. Okay. And it strengthens risk management of the company. And also third is internal control of the company. Now these three, it is connected to these three things. So all the three things you know, guys, all the three things you go. Kanchan, I've got your first mail today, probably. So it is an independent management function. Now, what is independent management function? This we will be discussing right now after some time. So it strengthens governance mechanism. What is governance mechanism, guys? Tell me how a company is run. So internal audit, number one, it strengthens all those systems. It makes for better governance of company. It strengthens all those systems which results in governance of the company. Because how does it strengthen? It constantly reviews those systems. It constantly evaluates those systems and keeps on getting valuable inputs, valuable suggestions. Okay. And second thing is risk management. Now here, don't be confused about audit risk. It has nothing to do with audit risk. Okay, Himanshu, is it clear? So risk management is the management of business risk related to the company. Okay, say new competitor has come in, or new products are coming in the market. What should be the alternative plans of action by the company? Okay, so it provides management with valuable inputs, valuable suggestions, how to deal with the emerging situations. Okay. And number three is internal control. So Kiran Shukla, please keep on sending mail. Now I am getting your mails. And third is internal control. It strengthens the internal control. Now, whatever the company has developed earlier in-house for purpose of running its operations, for purpose of safeguarding its assets, for the purpose of carrying out its operations efficiently and effectively. So it constantly use that system also. Okay. So therefore, internal audit functions helps in strengthening all these three areas. So fair enough, guys, you have to remember three things in the definition of internal audit. Say if you remember the definition of internal audit and you understand it completely, I can assure you, rather I can guarantee you that no question on internal audit which is application based, you can do it wrong in your exams. If you understand and remember the definition of internal audit by heart, all those 4 lines, okay, and you understand it also, because all other things have been, as I'm in the habit of telling you every other day, that all other things like what is the scope, what are the advantages, what are the limitations, these flow from the basic meaning of that phrase, from the basic meaning of that term. So if you guys understand that term, that concept completely, then all those things would naturally flow from it sequentially, step by step. Okay. Yes, Neeraj, I am sorry if you have joined the class for the first time. You would not be able to understand much. So better you should also see recorded lectures. Okay, and then join the class on continuous basis. So is that clear to guys? Is that clear to you guys? So now we see what is there in your module. Yes, guys, you are able to see your module. We are at page number 4.42. We are at page number 4.42 of your module. So internal audit. So what does internal audit mean? Internal audit means an independent management function which involves a continuous and critical appraisal of the functioning of entity with a view to suggest improvements thereto. Now one part is this. Okay. So Neeraj, you have to see the recorded lectures and do not jump for notes. Just go through the modules. Understand those lectures and go through modules, understand, remember, and join the classes then. So it is an independent management function. So many of you would be wondering how it can be independent management function. If the if the internal audit is a management function, then how it can be independent? Many of you already know that internal auditor can be an employee of the firm also. Then how it can be an independent function? Because independence till now, what you have learned is that that person should be not influenced from external influences. Okay. So if there is an employee, if there is an internal auditor who happens to be employee of the company, then how he can be independent? So any ideas, any guesses, guys? So इंटरनल ऑडिट के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में इंडिपेंडेंस का क्या मतलब है, क्या आप बता सकते हैं? ओनली फॉर योर अंडरस्टैंडिंग स्टूडेंट्स. Only for your understanding, so that you are not confused. You should not be confused. अरे भाई एक्सटर्नल ऑडिटर तो ठीक है, स्टैट्यूटरी ऑडिटर he is an outsider, he would be independent, he would not be spoiled by the influences. But what is the meaning of independence in the context of internal audit? Yes, anybody, any intelligent guesses? Any intelligent guesses? Do not, it is not in your module, rather it is not in your syllabus also. I am trying to explain the term to you for better understanding. Yes. Yes, anybody? Yes, Bhumika. Good answer, Bhumika. Bhumika is writing not under pressure from top management. Yes, that is true. So the function internal audit should be a function where he reports to those charged with governance. He is not, say, he would be operating to some operational people in accounts department of the work. He is checking, he is reporting within that department. So his stature, his status should be such, his overall organizational status in the company should be such that he commands a respect. Okay. And when respect would come? When he is reporting directly to the topmost body in the company. Okay. Say with the audit committee or to the board of directors, and he is given full liberty to perform his work, and give his suggestions. Okay. And his purpose, he is an auditor, he has not to perform all those operational duties. Okay. So his purpose is to evaluate the work done by others. Clear? Clear, guys? So what do we mean by independence in the context of internal audit? It's clear to you? So it is an independent management function which involves a continuous and critical appraisal of the functioning of an entity. It has got two words, continuous and critical. So what is continuous? Continuous means regular, and critical with a critical eye to look at the things objectively and see what can go wrong. Okay. And critical appraisal. So now what is appraisal? Appraisal means review. Review of the functioning of entity, now with a view to suggest improvements. Now that is very important. With a view to suggest improvements there too. सिर्फ उसको गलतियां नहीं निकालनी है, उसको इस कंस्ट्रक्टिव सजेशन भी देनी है, इंप्रूवमेंट देनी है. ओके. एंड एड वैल्यू एंड स्ट्रेंथन इन दोज 3 एरियाज. जिन 3 एरियाज की हमने व्हाइट बोर्ड पे बात की थी, वो 3 एरियाज कौन से हैं? गवर्नेंस मैकेनिज्म और स्ट्रेटेजिक रिस्क मैनेजमेंट एंड इंटरनल कंट्रोल. So is the definition clear to you guys? Is the definition clear to you? So guys, again, why I'm taking time for you people to assimilate the contents of this definition or to digest the contents of this definition is because as I have told you earlier, all the things would be flowing from this definition. So many of you are writing it is clear. Bhumika, Himanshu, Kiran Shukla, Diksha. So what we have learned? Internal audit is an independent management function. Number 2, it involves continuous and critical appraisal of the functioning of entity. And number 3, it suggests improvements to the functioning of entity and add value to 3 things: to the governance mechanism of the entity, to the risk management system of the entity, and to the internal control. Okay. Yes, Darshan, you are very much right. Internal auditor does not express opinion on financial statements. He does not express. He gives reports to the companies, which are internal reports. He submits the reports to the company, pointing out various areas where deficiencies or weaknesses have been noted by him, and he also suggests what should be done, but he does not provide opinion on the financial statements. That is the job of statutory auditor, external auditor, in whatever way you have understood it. So that is the job of external auditor, statutory auditor. It falls within his domain. It falls within his exclusive domain. Only he can express opinion on financial statements. Okay. Mohit, internal audit is not mandatory for all companies. We shall discuss what are the provisions of Companies Act 2013 in this regard. It is compulsory for certain class of companies which fulfill certain conditions. Okay. So Sonali, I have already summarized it again. I hope I have now summarized it twice or thrice. Now, Syed, what you are asking, you are stating if an auditor has conducted internal audit of a company and after a short time gap, he has to conduct an audit of financial statements, then. So what, Syed, you are asking if that would be a conflict of interest. Say if you are internal auditor of a company, then you cannot be statutory auditor of the company. It is expressly prohibited, expressly debarred, expressly barred in the Companies Act. So your question itself becomes irrelevant, because In that case, why it is barred? In that case, there would be threat to the independence of the auditor, because he would be involved in self-reviewing his own work. चैप्टर 1 याद आ गया? रिमेंबर चैप्टर 1, सेल्फ रिव्यू थ्रेट्स कुछ होती थी, अपने वर्क को रिव्यू करना. So that those would come into the play. So keeping this into mind, an internal auditor cannot be appointed as statutory auditor. Okay. Clear? Yes, Syed. So before we come to the provisions of Companies Act, law requirements, we shall first go through what is the scope of internal audit function. What is the scope? Then we shall be coming to the law requirements, because scope is directly derived from the definition of internal audit. So guys, you have also to remember that there are certain standards on internal audit issued by ICI, but these standards are recommendatory in nature, and anyway the contents of these standards is not in your syllabus. Okay, so you have to understand this much. Yes, there are some standards on internal audit which are known as SIAs, standards on internal audit, which are issued by ICI, but these are recommendatory, not mandatory, and these are not in your syllabus. Content of these are not in your syllabus. So what is the what does he perform? Activities related to governance. So first thing was governance mechanism. So the internal audit function may assess the governance process in its accomplishment of objectives on ethics, performance management, accountability, communicating, and control information to appropriate areas of organization. And he can be and how does communication take place between external auditor and internal auditor? That is also useful for him. Activities relating to risk management. So the internal audit function may assist the entity by identifying and evaluating significant exposures to risk and contributing to the improvement of risk management and internal control. Okay, and internal audit function may perform procedures to assist the entity in detection of frauds. So जब इंटरनल ऑडिटर डेफिशिएंसीज कमियां बताएगा सिस्टम में क्या है, डिटेल्ड चेकिंग करेगा ऑन कॉन्टिन्यूअस बेसिस, ऑब्वियसली he would come to know many things, what where frauds, where opportunities to commit frauds are there, कि सर ये सिस्टम ठीक नहीं है. He would keep the management in light and tell that this system is not okay, or this system is faulty, it can be manipulated by employees. And risk management, I have already told you, activities related to risk management, that it would give valuable suggestions to improve the risk appetite of the company. Okay, so what are the risks in real time scenario being faced by the company? Okay, and what could be done, how the management should deal with those risks. Okay, so he provides those valuable suggestions, those valuable inputs. Activities relating to internal control. So what does he perform in relation to internal control? The internal audit function may be assigned specific responsibility for reviewing controls. ये तो उसका काम है ही. सो वट एवर इंटरनल कंट्रोल को इवेल्युएट करना इज falls within his function, because it ultimately helps in strengthening the system of the company, evaluating their operation and recommending improvements there too. So again guys, I am telling you, internal audit का ऑडिटर का काम केवल गलतियां ढूंढना नहीं है, लेकिन उसको सजेशन भी देना है उसकी इंप्रूवमेंट के लिए. खाली पॉइंट आउट नहीं करना, साथ साथ उसको रियल टाइम बेसिस पे इंप्रूवमेंट की सजेशन देके उसको ठीक करवाने के लिए भी मैनेजमेंट को बोलना है. ओके. सो इन डूइंग सो द इंटरनल ऑडिट फंक्शन प्रोवाइड्स एश्योरेंस ऑन द कंट्रोल. सो therefore it provides some comfort to the management. It provides some comfort to the management on the control. So therefore guys, you can very well understand, if a company has got a well functioning internal audit department, so what are the implications for statutory auditor? Now can you tell? If suppose a company has a well functioning internal audit department, एक डिपार्टमेंट है कंपनी में इंटरनल ऑडिट का अलग से और बहुत बढ़िया काम कर रहा है. ओके. इट इज हेडेड बाय एन एक्सपीरियंस्ड पर्सन who is pointing out deficiencies on regular basis. He submits reports on regular basis. He is also suggesting improvements. So what does this show to the external auditor, to the statutory auditor? What are implications for the statutory auditor? Yes, anybody? Any intelligent guesses are always welcome. Yes guys, any intelligent guesses are always welcome. What would an external auditor make out of a well functioning internal audit department? Tell me. Yes, he can communicate with the internal auditor. There is a separate essay in this respect using the work of internal auditor. Yes, anybody? If the company has got a well functioning internal audit department, then how external auditor is affected by it? What are implications for him, whether these are on positive side or whether these are on negative side? Yes. Yes, well done guys. Now all of you have become quite intelligent. Okay. And I am now assured, my assurance level has increased that you people have understood the concepts at least. Okay. आप हवा में तीर नहीं छोड़ रहे हो. You people have understood the concepts. So many of you are writing risk of misstatement could be low. The auditor can rely upon internal control. Statutory auditor can rely on internal auditor and plan his substantive procedures. Yes, well done guys. Good. Yes. Yes, Neeraj, you are also right. So for example, the internal audit function might plan and perform tests or other procedures to provide assurance to management regarding the design, implementation and operating effectiveness of internal control. So again, same thing, he would be he can provide assurance to the management. Here, look, design of your IC is okay, these are being implemented as you had planned. And number 3, these are operating effectively throughout the period under review. Okay. Number 2, examination of financial and operating information. So you would say that this is the domain of the external auditor. How internal auditor can do it? No. Here the management is also analyzing its books, is analyzing its financial statements. So they may ask the internal auditor to examine the financial information. अरे वो कहेंगे भैया बताइए तो सही जरा डेटर्स का एनालिसिस करके कि कौन कौन से डेटर्स हैं जिनसे पेमेंट डिले आ रही है. It would fall within the purview of his work. So not only financial but other operating information also, कि किस एरियाज में वेस्टेज हो रही है. जरा वो उसकी कोई रिपोर्ट निकाल के दीजिए, आप चार्ट बना के दीजिए जरा. ओके, ठीक है. क्लियर टू यू गाइस? Manisha is stating external auditor can communicate help of internal auditor. Yes, Manisha, he can, but subject to something. It is not complete. He cannot rely completely on internal auditor. He can rely to some extent in accordance with relevant essay. Okay. Because ultimately opinion तो external auditor का ही है, उसको ही ओपिनियन देना है कि वेदर फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स रिफ्लेक्टेड ट्रू एंड फेयर व्यू और नॉट. ही हैज टू गिव ओपिनियन ऑन द फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स. ही कैन नॉट से कि इंटरनल ऑडिटर के काम पे रिलाई किया था, अब इंटरनल ऑडिटर के मैं तो आई एम ruined नाउ. ही वुड बी स्प्लिटिंग हिज हेयर्स कल को कुछ हो गया तो. ओके. No, Bhumika, errors by it is not necessary. Whatever, whether these are financial statements or whether this is a raw data or whether it is any report. So he can review any financial information or operating information. Operating information means information which relates to the operations of the company. Okay. And number 3, review of operating activities. Now the internal audit function may be assigned to review the economy, efficiency and effectiveness of operating activities, including non-financial activities. It is not necessary that internal auditor is confined to reviewing only financial information. He can review, look whether the plant is say working at optimum capacity or not. The management may ask him is to review the reasons, to prepare a report on the reasons why it is not working at the optimum capacity, why it is happening, so he can talk to other people and prepare the report. So economy, efficiency and effectiveness of operating activities. So he can undertake review of financial activities and also of non-financial activities. Review of. Okay. Next. Review of compliance with laws and regulations. Now that is very important. Whether the company is law compliant or not, whether the company regularly complies with laws or not, that is very important. अगर एक company law compliant नहीं है, say the company is liable to pay, a very simple example, company is liable to pay advance tax. Okay, 4 times in a year, you know, The company is liable to pay advance tax on its income. It is required to deduct TDS every month. Okay, and deposit it to the credit of central government. Say that the company is not complying with these law provisions, then what would happen? These have got penal consequences. These violations involve a cost on the company. The cost may be financial and non-financial. It may be penalty and other penal consequences. Okay, so it is very important that a company is law compliant. It complies with all laws, all regulations. Okay, so the internal auditor has to see that whether the company is complying with all the laws. he would he would be undertaking a review of compliance with laws. Check box and tick. Okay, that these were the due dates, these were the deadlines, have these been met with or not? Okay, so that is a very important requirement. Clear? So I have given you a example of laws relating to financial sector. Okay, so there can be in to a business, to a company, other laws can also be applicable, like pollution control requirements. Yes, Himanshu, like pollution requirements, pollution control requirements. Say plant of the company is required to comply with the pollution control requirements because it is discharging some gaseous harmful effluents. Okay, then whether all those compliances are being made. Okay, what are the regulatory requirements in this regard? Whatever the records are required, whether these are being maintained or not, or whether some reports are to be filed with regulators, these are being filed or not. Okay, so all these things. So clear now. Neeraj, you are asking how a company gets affected if external auditor finds any negative point. Neeraj, your question is not clear. I would request you to gain an understanding of the previous chapters first. So clear, students, scope and function of internal auditor is clear to you. As I told you, students, that all these functions of internal auditor flow from its definition. Isn't it? Darshan, you are asking about what does other internal requirement mean? Here it is written, Darshan. Tell me page number and which line. At which page it is? Yes, Darshan. Send your mail so that we can start with the legal requirements. Yes, Darshan. Where is this line? What does other internal requirement? No mail. So for the time being, we can start. You are writing 4.46 page. 4.46. Yes. The internal audit function may be assigned to review compliance with laws, regulations, and other external requirements. and with management policies, directives, and other internal requirements. It also states that not only compliance with laws, but also with uh, other management directives, the regulations which the management has itself made. Okay. So now we shall be coming to the law provisions of internal audit. So law provisions relating to internal audit are contained in section 138 of 2013. These are contained in section 138 of Companies Act 2013. You would also be reading in your corporate law classes. So as per section 138 of the Companies Act, read with rule 13 of Companies Accounts Rule 2014, following class of companies shall be required to appoint an internal auditor or a firm of internal auditors, namely. So ये कैटेगरीज दी गई हैं, इन कंपनीज को इंटरनल ऑडिटर अपॉइंट करना मैंडेटरी है, कंपल्सरी है. ओके, सो क्या क्या है? It is since it is a law provision, you have to remember it. There are no two options, ifs or buts about it. It has to be remembered as it is. Okay, so sometimes direct question can come, okay, or application based question can come, that this company has so much of capital or these sort of things, whether it is required under Companies Act 2013 to appoint internal auditor. Okay, so where law provisions are involved, you have to remember them as these are and apply. Okay, so every listed company, so कोई भी कंपनी है जो लिस्टेड है, जिसके शेयर्स लिस्टेड हैं स्टॉक एक्सचेंज में, वो कंपनी को इंटरनल ऑडिटर अपॉइंट करना मैंडेटरी है, कंपल्सरी. ओके, तो इंटरनल ऑडिटर कौन है? एक ही कैन बी एन इंडिविजुअल or it can be a firm of internal auditor providing services. Okay, we shall be coming it. So do not be impatient. We shall be coming it to this very point. So every unlisted public company, इसके अलावा besides that, besides listed companies, other category comes the companies which are public but not listed. Okay, so every unlisted companies meeting following conditions. What are the conditions? So these are the conditions. What are the conditions? So if a unlisted public company satisfies any of these three conditions, then it is compulsorily required to appoint an internal auditor or a firm of internal auditors. Clear, guys? So what are those three conditions? These are paid up share capital of 50 crore or more during the preceding financial year. 50 crore or more. What? Paid up share capital. So if the paid up share capital of unlisted public company is 50 crores or more during the preceding financial year, then obviously it would become mandatory upon the company to appoint internal auditor. Okay, or turnover of 200 crores or more during the preceding financial year. Say if for the year ending 31st March 23, there is an unlisted public company whose turnover is 200 crore, or more. Say it is 205 crores. Okay, earlier it was less than 200 crores. And balance two conditions were also not applicable to the company, let us assume. So now the turnover has crossed 200 crore threshold as on 31st March 2023. So therefore the company would be required to appoint internal auditor in the ensuing year, in the financial year which is starting from 1st of April. क्योंकि 31 मार्च को तो उसको पता चलेगा कि मेरी टर्नओवर 200 करोड़ हो गई है. Okay, it is only then the company would be liable to appoint an internal auditor, and then these law conditions would come into play. Okay. Number 3, outstanding loans or borrowings from banks or financial institutions exceeding 100 crore or more at any point of time during the financial year. से अगर किसी कंपनी ने लोन लिया हुआ है 100 करोड़ रुपए से ज्यादा का किसी भी बैंक से या पब्लिक फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन से एट एनी टाइम ड्यूरिंग द ईयर, से एज ऑन 31st March the loan outstanding is 95 crore, but during the year at some point of time, say for 2 days, the loans have the loan balances were to the tune of 110 crores, then this condition would come into play. Okay. And number 4, outstanding deposits of 25 crore rupees or more at any point of time during preceding financial year. So deposits, guys, you know what are deposits? So a company also accepts deposits from the public. Okay, so the provisions regarding this are contained in Chapter 5 of Companies Act in Section 73 to Section 76. So these again you would be reading in your company law classes. So 4 कंडीशन हो गई, अगर चारों में से कोई भी सेटिस्फाई हो जाती है, ओके, so the company, that unlisted public company would be required to appoint an internal auditor. So again I am repeating, what are those 4 conditions in case of an unlisted public company? Listed company तो सबको appoint करना है, कोई there is no leeway, there is no exemption. If the company is listed, आपको appoint करना है internal auditor, no exemption, no leeway. Okay. If you are a public company but you are not listed, then if your paid up share capital is rupees 50 crore or more during the preceding financial year, or your turnover is 200 crore or more during the preceding financial year, or you have borrowed 100 crore or more from banks or public financial institutions at any time, at any point of time during the preceding financial year, or you have accepted deposits of, you had outstanding deposits of 25 crore or more at any point of time during the preceding financial year. So if any of these things come into play, then appointment of internal auditor is mandatory. No, deposits do not mean debentures. No, Sonali, you would be reading about these in your company law classes, so you can understand it that way. Okay. Varsha, which companies are unlisted? Varsha, you can only understand that public companies whose shares are not listed on the stock exchange, these are known as unlisted public companies. You understand that under Companies Act there are public companies and private companies. Okay, so public companies can be listed Public companies can be unlisted also. So we are talking about unlisted public companies. तो लिस्टेड कंपनीज की बात हो गई, अनलिस्टेड पब्लिक कंपनीज की बात हो गई. नाउ प्राइवेट कंपनीज ऑल्सो. सो इन सर्टेन क्लास ऑफ प्राइवेट कंपनीज, in appointment of internal auditor is also mandatory. Certain class of private companies are also mandatorily required to appoint an internal auditor. So what are those conditions? These conditions are, again, turnover condition. It is the same which is there in case of unlisted public companies. Turnover of 200 CR or more during the preceding financial year. Okay. And outstanding loans or borrowings from banks or public financial institutions exceeding 100 crores or more at any point of time during the preceding financial year. It is also the same. Okay. So in case of private companies, there are two conditions. If any of these two become satisfied, then the private company has to appoint an internal auditor compulsorily under the law, under provisions of section 138 of Companies Act. So for private companies, there are two conditions. One condition relates to turnover and second condition relates to loans or borrowings. So the threshold limit is same as in case of unlisted public companies. Whereas in case of unlisted public companies, there are four conditions relating to thresholds of paid up capital. Number two, relating to threshold of turnover. Number three, relating to threshold of loans or borrowings. Number four, relating to threshold of deposits. Okay. Clear? Is it clear to you, students? Where, in what cases? So this you have to remember. Remember once, twice, thrice, and it would be permanently etched. So a very good question can come in the exam, and it has come in the past also. Clear, guys? Now let us take an illustration. Let us also take an illustration, because many of you would be complaining, sir आप illustration नहीं करवाते. क्योंकि मैं illustration इसलिए नहीं करवाता क्योंकि मेरा ज्यादा फोकस उस बात पे रहता है to make the things understandable for you, to make you the things understand. Because if I am able to make you the things understand, then my work is over, my work is accomplished. You can do illustrations yourself. So like see, this is illustration. Extremely Fine Limited is an unlisted public limited company. Okay. So for financial year 1920, the turnover of above mentioned company was 256 crore. Now we are talking about unlisted public company. Private company is out, listed company is also out. So in order to comply with the provisions of Companies Act, the Board of Directors of Extremely Fine Limited during financial year 2021 appointed an internal auditor. Comment on the appointment internal auditor. Okay. So क्या वो उसको internal auditor appoint करना जरूरी था या नहीं? Yes, जरूरी था, क्योंकि you would be writing that these are the three conditions, these are the four conditions, and if any condition is satisfied, then internal auditor was required to be appointed, and the company is satisfying the condition number 2. Condition number 2 of the turnover. Okay. So as simple as that. No dispute. Now, who can be appointed as internal auditor of the company? Now, this is also law provision. This is also a law provision. As per section 130 of Companies Act, the internal auditor shall either be a chartered accountant, okay, or a cost accountant, whether engaged in practice or not, or such other professional as may be decided by the board to conduct an internal audit of the functions and activities of the company. The internal auditor may or may not be employee of the company. So what does section 138 say about the appointment of internal auditor? It says that the internal auditor can be a CA, he can be a cost accountant. ये दो लोग तो एक्सप्रेस लिखे हुए हैं, who hold these qualifications. और फिर बोर्ड को पावर दे दी to appoint such other professional as may be decided by the board. Now, any other professional as may be found suitable by the board, who could justify his carrying out the function of the internal auditor of the company. Okay. So it is also written that internal auditor may be engaged in practice or not. So you here, therefore it is derived from this that internal auditor can be an employee of the company or may not be the employee of the company. Say let us assume, say Darshan is a chartered accountant. Okay, Darshan, now suppose you are a chartered accountant, and you do not hold certificate of practice, you are into the industry. So guys, one thing you have to understand, that once you qualify as CA after passing your CA final exam, then you would be applying for the membership of the ICAI. And those of you who want to come in the field of public practice, they would have to obtain certificate of practice. Okay, it is a procedural requirement. You have to fill a form and apply for certificate of practice, CP. So it is only when you are having certificate of practice you can act as an auditor, external auditor, statutory auditor of a company, and perform and sign on any balance sheet or perform any test function or issue some certificate. It is not necessary that every one of you goes into practice. So some of you might go into jobs in the industry. Okay. So then for jobs in the industry, you would not be required to obtain a certificate of practice. Okay. So you would be an employee of the company, but you are a member of ICAI. You would be member of ICAI, but you are an employee of the company. You would be in the industry. So an internal auditor can be employee of a company. He can be a CA employee of the company, or it may be that some services of internal auditor of an external firm are hired by the company. Say there is a firm of chartered accountants who are into the public accountancy practice, there is a firm of chartered accountancy. They provide various kind of services, and one type of services is internal auditing services. So a company may hire a firm of chartered accountants that you conduct internal audit for a whole year and submit monthly reports to us, quarterly reports to us, whatever their scope is. Okay, so it can be that sort of arrangement also. So is that clear? And internal auditor can be a chartered accountant, he can be a cost accountant, or he can be any other professional as may be decided by board of directors to conduct internal audit of the functions and activities of the company. So the internal auditor may or may not be employee of the company. So this point is very important. It is not necessary that internal auditor is employee of the company. Okay. So clear to you guys? Yes, students. Any doubts about this topic of internal audit? What is the what does an internal auditor do? What are his functions? What is the meaning of internal audit? What is the scope of his function? And what are the legal requirements? Which class of companies are required to appoint internal auditor? Who can be appointed as an internal auditor? Or are all these things clear to you? Yes, guys, tell me. Drop mails, guys. Yes, Darshan. You have to continuously motivate yourself. So when you are preparing for your CA exams, you have to continuously motivate yourself also. Yes, I can do it. Why I would not be able to clear the exams? If you have made a commitment, if you have made a commitment to clear the exams, then nobody can stop you. Nobody. Yes, they are appointed by the company, Darshan. Yes, they are appointed by the company directly. So let us see what is left out in this topic, internal audit. These are again the same, this we have done. These are the basics of standards on internal auditing, guys. Some names of standards on internal audit are given. As I had told you, these standards are recommendatory in nature. So these standards are recommendatory in nature. Now Mohit is saying ICAI can stop, but why ICAI would stop deserving candidates? Do not think negative, Mohit. ICAI does not stop deserving candidates from becoming chartered accountants. So these are the standards and these are recommendatory. You have to understand this much, that there are standards issued. These are known as standards on internal auditing and these are recommendatory. Okay. Neeraj, first study, you are now asking company law questions. Bhumika, if I am a CA in XYZ company, as per law, company have an option. Either board of directors can select me for internal auditor, or they can appoint an employee like sales department head, or can appoint an outsider person from audit firm for his internal audit function. Yes. Bhumika, you have to understand it that way. Number one, internal auditor has to be a professional. Chartered accountant and cost accountant are specified persons provided in the Companies Act 2013 for being appointed as internal auditor of a, and besides that उसके अलावा भी कोई professional which board think is competent, is proper to do so. What, who is a professional? He should have some knowledge, he should have some skills, he should have some competence. So what you are writing, that whether internal audit, whether the company can appoint a person from sales department as internal auditor. Now whether that person, whether he has got the requisite qualification in say in field of finance, in field of accountancy, in field of auditing, if he does not has that qualification or experience or skills in field of accountancy, finance, and or auditing, then how he can perform the internal audit function? Okay. Is your query clear, Bhumika? And you are asking, can he appoint an outside person from audit firm for internal audit? Yes. I have already told you that an outsider, say Bhumika is also a chartered accountant. Now you are not employee of XYZ company, which you are talking about. You are into the public practice. You have got your own office and you are into the public practice. You are auditing a number of clients. Let us assume. Okay, you are statutory auditor of some 20 companies. So now you can also render internal audit services to the company. Okay, so it would be a matter of agreement, matter of contract between you and the company. You can render internal audit services to the company. You would be required to go there. Okay, whatever your terms of engagement have been decided, and evaluate the systems and give suggestions to the management, give your reports. Okay. So clear? Yes. The names of SIAs are written there in your module. Mohit, that is too far. Now you are saying whether a company can appoint 2-3 internal auditor. So it is a matter of compliance requirement. So companies normally have a big companies normally have a department in practically. Normally they have a functioning internal audit department in their corporates, in their companies. So because you see practically, if a large company, if an MNC or if a listed company having say turnover of 20,000 crore or 10,000 crore, it is appointing some external firm as an internal auditor. So would the external firm, it can appoint, but would the external firms, it can appoint two firms, it may appoint, but would they be able to do justice to the job? So therefore, practically all the bigger lot of companies, they are having an elaborate internal audit department, functioning internal audit department in themselves, within themselves, which have got a separate staff. It would be headed by a competent person. He would be reporting to the top echelons of the management. Okay, and he would be assisted by suitable skilled staff. They would have their own infrastructure and all those sort of things. Okay, so in that way, it operates practically. However, say if there is a private company and it has got a turnover of 200 crore or more, internal auditor, appointment of requirements of appointing internal auditor became applicable to that company. So such companies, they may outsource the internal audit services often, because they might not be willing to spend so much on the internal audit to make a functioning internal audit department in their company. Okay, so you can understand it from that point of view. So Mohit, clear? Now Darshan, internal auditor is also no. Good question, Darshan. I would say internal auditor is also required to comply with essays. Now, when we had started chapter 1, what we had read? Standards on auditing apply in independent audit of financial statements. So whenever an independent audit of financial statements is carried out, essays apply. Okay, so you got the answer. For internal audit, there are standards on internal audit, but obviously if say internal auditor is a chartered accountant, then by his qualification, by his experience, he knows how an audit is carried out because he has read all those standards. So although literally he would not be following, but many of the procedures he knows how audit is to be conducted. So many of procedures could be common. Okay. So this is how things may operate practically. Is it clear to you, Darshan? Yes. Now we come to another term. This term is basics of internal financial control. Now the term is internal financial controls, IFC. अभी तक तो हमने पढ़े थे स्टूडेंट्स इंटरनल कंट्रोल्स, अब ये एक टर्म है इंटरनल फाइनेंशियल कंट्रोल्स. Yes, internal financial controls. So internal financial controls is a law requirement. It is explained in Companies Act 2013. So what does it explain? The meaning of internal financial control as the policies and procedures adopted by the company for ensuring the orderly and efficiently conduct of its business, including adherence to company's policies, safeguarding of its assets and prevention and detection of frauds and errors, and the accuracy and completeness of accounting records and timely preparation of reliable financial information. So guys, you would see that all these things are more or less related to internal controls. But this term internal financial control is specifically defined in Companies Act 2013, and there is a definition. So we have to go by what the legal definition says. It is the same thing, but couched in a different language. Okay. So from the above definition, it is clear that internal financial controls are the policies and procedures adopted by the company for, number one, ensuring the orderly and efficient conduct of its business. So similar to efficiency and effectiveness of operations in internal control. Safeguarding of assets, it was also there in internal control. Okay. The prevention of detection of fraud and errors. Prevention and detection of fraud and errors. So it makes it wider. Okay. And the accuracy and completeness of financial records. Accuracy and completeness of accounting records and timely preparation of reliable financial information. These are also related to internal controls. Okay, so why we are studying internal financial control? So your question would be, why we are studying internal financial control? Because it is specifically defined in Companies Act 2013 under section 134 subsection 5 clause E, and the auditor, the statutory auditor, has to report on the operating effectiveness of internal financial controls. Okay, that is why it is there in your module. That is why you are studying it. So Manisha, you are asking, what if in current year requirement of 138 is not fulfilled, but it was fulfilled in previous year? Yes. Manisha, all the requirements relate to preceding year. If you read between the lines, if you read carefully, the law states that if the company has crossed so much of a turnover during a year, during the preceding year, okay, so obviously the appointment of internal auditor is to be made next year. Say if the turnover, I am an unlisted public company and my turnover has crossed 200 crores. I had given you the example as on 31st March. Then I would be liable to appoint an internal auditor in year 2023-24, because in 22-23, how I would be knowing that my turnover would cross 200 crores? As simple as that. No, it is not a subset. Darshan, you can't say it is a subset. So clear to you, Manisha? So internal financial control meaning you have understood? As per section 134 subsection 5 clause E. Now, auditor's responsibility for reporting on internal financial control. As I have told you, under section 143 subsection 3 of Companies Act, this you would also be reading in your chapter on company audit and also in your company law classes. Okay. So the auditor has to specifically report on what? He has to report on to state whether the company has adequate internal financial control systems in place and the operating effectiveness of such controls. So you have to remember only this much. These two lines you have to remember as these are. So what you have to remember in this topic, that what is the meaning of internal financial control? That meaning as per law definition section 134 subsection 5 clause E. And what is auditor's responsibility in this regard? That auditor has to report on the operating effectiveness of such control and whether at first place the company is having an adequate internal financial control system in place. If it is so, then what are the operating effectiveness of such controls? Okay. So clear to you guys? So at this point, let us take a short break for 10 minutes. Mohit is getting impatient. So short break for 10 minutes, guys. Short break for 10 minutes. Back, students. So we were discussing about internal financial control system, IFC. So the requirements of internal financial control systems are contained in section 134 subsection 5 clause E. Okay. So the auditor has to report when he gives a report on the accounts examined by him in case of a company. Then he gives report under section 143. Under section 143 of Companies Act, he has to report whether the company has adequate internal financial control system in place in first part, and second, the operating effectiveness of such control, whether the controls are effective. So this requirement is only when he is giving an report on the audit of financial statements. So when he is carrying out annual audit and submitting report under section 143(3), then this requirement will apply. It is not applicable to say interim financial statements made on a date for a period which is shorter than a financial year. Okay. So the auditor's objectives in an audit of internal financial control over financial reporting is to express an opinion on the effectiveness of company's internal financial control or financial reporting. It is carried out along with the audit of the financial statements. So simultaneously, the audit of financial statements is simultaneously along with the audit of financial statements, it is carried. What is carried? Expression of opinion on internal financial controls. Okay. Clear, guys? So it provides only a reasonable assurance. Obviously, any sort of assurance in auditing is reasonable, as you know, guys. It is always a reasonable assurance. So rule 8.5, now it states that at the first place, the directors of the board of directors of the companies have also to report. No, it is applicable only in case of companies. So for companies, as you know, that it is mandatory to get them accounts audited, to get their accounts audited. So Darshan, your query is answered. So here we are talking about companies. The relevant provision is in Companies Act 2013. So obviously these are applicable to companies, and companies are required to get their accounts audited mandatorily. So there is no element of voluntariness here. Is it okay, Darshan? So Companies Act 2013 also states that the directors have also to, the board of director has also to state the details in respect of adequacy of internal financial control with reference to financial statements. Okay, so this is included in board's report. First, the management has to state that there is an adequacy of internal financial controls with reference to financial statements, and the auditor has in fact to evaluate whether the internal financial control systems is in place, is there, is working, and to comment upon the operating effectiveness of the internal financial controls. Okay. So clear, guys. Internal financial controls is clear to you. Now we come to this another term. There is another term, internal controls over financial reporting. Okay, so internal financial controls you have understood as defined under section 134 subsection 5 clause E. That is a law definition. So far as internal controls over financial reporting, you have to consider, you have to understand this much, students, that this is a wider term because it contains not only such aspects like uh, effectiveness and efficiency of operations of the company, prevention and detection of errors and frauds, okay, compliance with laws and regulations, and safeguarding of assets. So internal financial control is a comprehensive wider term, whereas internal controls over financial reporting, it is a narrower term. It is a narrower term in its scope. Okay, so because these are controls relating to only to financial reporting. So here the auditors are required to express opinion on internal controls over financial reporting, whether internal controls or financial reporting um, are leading to reliable information being produced by the company. Or okay, and this opinion is distinct from the separate from the opinion expressed by the auditor on financial statements. So you have not to go into detail into the nitty gritty of this. This is a very elaborate topic. There is separate guidance prescribed by ICI relating to internal financial controls only, but at the intermediate level, guys, you have to understand that much only. Internal controls you have already understood. Internal financial control is a law requirement, section 134 subsection 5, comprehensive definition, more or less similar to internal controls, but it is a mandatory law requirement since the auditor has to separately report under section 143 subsection 3. Okay, and as far as internal financial controls and internal controls or financial reporting, these two terms are concerned, these are not two same terms. Internal financial control is a wider term, whereas internal control over financial reporting is a narrower term. It is narrower in its scope, and whereas internal financial control includes prevention and detection of errors and frauds, but this internal controls over financial reporting is just related to those controls which are related to financial reporting, whether these are leading to reliable financial information or not. Okay, and it is in addition to the opinion expressed by the auditor in accordance with law provisions. And there was a query of Himanshu Pathak. He had asked that at page number 4.36, there is a line in the module 4.38. He was stating there is a line 4.38 at serial number 6 at point number 6, page number 4.38. Now Himanshu is saying that where it is written control in a manual system may include such procedures like approvals and review of transactions, and alternatively it may include automated procedures. So Himanshu is saying Doesn't it mean automated controls? Yes, Himanshu, it is. The topic is trying to explain to you difference between what is the meaning of manual control and what is the meaning of automated control. So you look at the broad heading. It is written there, controls in the manual and IT system. Okay, and below that sub parts are there. Okay, controls in a manual system and IT system, and below that there are two sub points 1 and 2. So is Himanshu, is it clear to you? Yes, Himanshu. Now before we start our own questions, let us try to do some correct incorrect type which are given in your module. So let us see, guys. As per section 138 of Companies Act, private companies are not required to appoint internal auditor. Is the statement true or false? Yes. Do not see the answer, guys. No purpose will be served if you see the answers. No purpose will be served. Be honest to yourself. अगर आप आंसर देख के ठीक बता देते हो तो उसका क्या क्या यूज है? इट वुड बी ऑफ नो यूज टू यू. Yes. Statement 1 is false. Because certain private companies are required to appoint internal auditor. It is false. Now there is a direct relationship between materiality and degree of audit risk. Tell me. We had done this type of question last time on Saturday. Yes, Kanchan Kumari, you are also writing false. There is a direct relationship between materiality and degree of audit risk. Question number 2. Oh, Syed, we had done this question. Remember, we had done correct, incorrect, lower the audit risk, and this type of question, and lower or higher is the materiality level set by the auditor. So the question is same. There is a direct relationship between materiality and degree of audit risk? No. This statement is false. Why? Because there is an inverse relationship. There is an inverse relationship between materiality and audit risk. Say if the audit risk is high, the auditor would set materiality at low level. Low level means that he would set materiality at a level so that threshold, so that transactions crossing above threshold are also become material to him. Okay, so you have to understand that there is an inverse relationship between materiality and audit risk. Ulta relationship hai. If one increases, other decreases. Okay. Yes, Sayyid, now you are saying, now I remember. Now, let us see question number 5. Maintenance of internal control system is responsibility of statutory auditor. Is this correct or incorrect? Maintenance of internal control system is the responsibility of statutory auditor? Maintenance of control system is responsibility of statutory auditor. Is this true or false? So simple, guys, come on. Maintenance of control system is responsibility of statutory auditor. No mails. It is also false. It is the responsibility of management. Okay. And one of the directors of Very Fresh Fruits Limited was of the view that internal auditor to be appointed must be an employee of Very Fresh Fruits Limited. Is his opinion correct or incorrect? Yes. Is his opinion correct or incorrect? One of the directors of Very Fresh Fruits Limited was of the view that internal auditor to be appointed must be an employee of Very Fresh Limited. Yes, Sudhanshu, or all mails are coming. All mails are coming. Please do not worry. All mails are coming. So his opinion, this is also a false statement. So his opinion is wrong, because internal auditor can be an employee or he may not be employee of the company, as we had learned um, just before. Now let us see question number 7. Mr. W, one of the team members of auditor of Different Limited, was of the view that understanding the internal control of Different Limited will not help in developing an audit program. Now, is it true or false? Mr. W, one of the team members of the auditor of Different Limited, was of the view that understanding the internal control of Different Limited will not help in developing an audit program. Is it true or false? Yes, it will help him. Sonali, Komal, Komala, Himanshu, all of you have answered correctly. It is also a false statement. Okay. So, guys, have you got the overall idea of the chapter? Central idea of the chapter. You must have got the central idea of the chapter. कुछ पढ़ा students? Something has gone into your minds? Tell me. Something has got into your minds. It looks like that you have now something in your mind relating to this chapter. So let us test your understanding further. So guys, are you ready for some MCQs? Are you ready for some MCQs? Yes, all answers are visible, Sanjeet. So are you ready for some MCQs, guys? Now, is the screen visible to you? Guys, you are able to see the screen? Yes, guys. Are you able to see the screen? Question number 1. Which of the following usually is not included in risk assessment procedures? अब बताइए स्टूडेंट्स, कैसे एमसीक्यू कैसे करना है आपको एग्जाम में स्टूडेंट्स. नाउ सपोज दिस इज द क्वेश्चन. क्वेश्चन पढ़ते ही इमीडिएटली इट शुड क्लिक इन योर माइंड दैट रिस्क असेसमेंट प्रोसीजर्स क्या होते हैं. उसकी डेफिनेशन आपके दिमाग में आ जानी चाहिए विद इन ए फ्रैक्शन ऑफ सेकेंड. व्हाट आर द रिस्क असेसमेंट प्रोसीजर्स, एंड देन you should remember that what is included in risk assessment procedures. If you forget, suppose if you forget in the exams, although it is in your module, what is included in risk assessment procedures, hypothetically I assume that you forget what is included in risk assessment procedures. So what you should do? So I also assume that you have 3-4 minutes to waste on this question. Okay, so now you want to answer this question. So what you would do, you draw a blank when you try to recollect that what was included in reassessment procedure as per contents of what you had studied. Okay, so I am giving you some techniques, some tips. So you would go by elimination. So I presume that you would be remembering the meaning of all these 4 terms. So inspection. So go by elimination round. Inspection, to see some documents. Okay, to inspect some documents, to pursue some documents, to see some control manuals, financial statements. This was inspection. So when I am, now this should be in a fraction of seconds. Now when I am conducting risk assessment procedure, I am assessing risks, so I would definitely be inspecting. Second thing is observation. When I am observing something, somebody do some work, then I am also assessing the risk. What could be the possibility of going it wrong? What is the risk involved in this activity? And analytical procedures. When I am conducting analytical procedures, then I am trying to correlate some information with another information over a period of time, over 2-3 years, or within a year. I am trying to make some type of trends. I am trying to establish some type of relationship between the data. So this would help me in analyzing the variation. So when I am doing such type of activity, then obviously I am trying to assess the risk. So assessing risk is the first part before you actually perform substantive procedures. Okay. So what is left? Then this is left, re-performance. Now how is this choice correct? Say when I re-perform something, the thing has already been performed and I re-perform it, then am I making a risk assessment? I am not. Risk assessment means to assess what is the probability of this thing happening, what is the chance of this thing materializing. So when I am re-performing something, then I am not assessing risk. Then I am actually checking, I am actually performing substantive procedure. I am actually checking that information. Say I am re-performing the control relating to bank reconciliation statement. Let us assume. So whatever the bank reconciliation has been prepared by the accountant or the person in charge, that was a control put by the management. Now I am trying to re-perform it. Okay, so can it be risk assessment procedure? No. Because why? Because I am actually into the things. I am actually doing that thing. So it would lead me to know whether the bank reconciliation was proper or not. It would not lead to arriving in my mind some possibility of something happening. Okay, there would be no assessment of risk because I would be checking that control itself. So is that clear to you guys? Answer to question number 1 is clear to you guys. Now many of you have written C also, but many others have written D also. Krishna, Manisha, Bhumika, Mohit. How you are writing D, guys? एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर तो रिस्क असेसमेंट करने के लिए एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर तो सबसे ज्यादा रोल प्ले करते हैं गाइस, क्योंकि मैं पिछले साल के कुछ डाटा के साथ उसका कंपैरिजन करता हूं और वो तो मेरा रिस्क एनालिसिस का पार्ट है, रिस्क असेसमेंट प्रोसीजर का पार्ट है. सो क्लियर टू यू मोहित and others, Bhumika, is it clear to you how analytical procedures is part of risk assessment procedures and how re-performance is not part of risk assessment procedures? Yes, guys, clear. So we move on to second question. Fairly simple question. Just drop your mail. Which of the following statements is correct? Which of the following statements is correct? I do not expect any one of you to give me a wrong answer to this question. I do not expect any one of you, not even a single person, to give a wrong answer to this question. Which of the following statements is correct? Fairly simple question. Which of the following statements is correct? फर्स्ट का आंसर सी है, री-परफॉर्मेंस. फर्स्ट का आंसर सी है. कृष्णा बगोड़िया. Yes. Only 4-5 mails I have got. What about others? Yes, Mohit, Bhumika, Kanchan, Sanjeet, Sayyad, Singh, Rajiv Kumar, Darshan, Sonali, Sudhanshu. What about others? So Krish, Komala, student, you have failed me. Komala, how you are writing D? And Tanisha, how you are writing D? 90% of you have given the correct answer. How you have written D? Internal control is the entirely the responsibility of the management. Correct answer is A. How you are writing D? It is designed by the management but implemented and maintained by the auditor. How? It is only evaluated by the auditor. अरे भाई, internal control is system which is created and designed by the management, and management is responsible for upkeeping it, for implementing it and maintaining it. This is a totally management function. You would say that financial statement preparation is also the responsibility of auditor. No, just as financial statements are preparation of financial statements are responsibility of the management. Similarly, internal control is designed, maintained and implemented. Designed, implemented and maintained by the management. The auditor only assesses. The auditor only assesses it. He only evaluates it, whether control system is functioning or not, whether controls are have operated effectively or not, whether the design of controls is faulty or whether the design of control is proper. So these things, these fall in the duties of the auditor, in the responsibilities of the auditor. But the creation of an control system, its design, implementation and maintenance, these all things lie with the management. How these things are related to an auditor? So, Tanisha, it should be clear to you. You are saying yes, it is clear. Now third. Now study the question and then answer. A statutory auditor is understanding internal control of a company. Which of the following is not benefit of such an understanding? इनमें से कौन सा benefit नहीं है? So out of 4, 3 options are benefit of understanding and internal control, and one is not. Tell me which is not benefit of understanding internal control. Yes, only Himanshu has given the answer. Himanshu, Sayyad, Diksha, Kanchan Kumari, Darshan, Bhumika, Manisha. A statutory auditor is understanding internal control of a company. Which of the following is not a benefit of such an understanding? Yes, now Singh Rajiv Kumar, Sanjeet M, Mohit Saini. All of you have answered rightly. Okay, so the answer is option A. This is not benefit of understanding internal control. So this has nothing to do with the audit, because the auditor is expressing opinion on financial statements. So the outcome of an audit is what? Outcome of an audit is audit report, by means of which an auditor expresses opinion on financial statements. Now, how ascertaining income tax liability is concerned with study of internal controls. Okay. So all these factors, because if he studies the internal control, then he can identify risk of material misstatement. He can understand what type of substantive procedures have to be designed by him. Okay. And he can also identify types of potential misstatements. किस type की potential misstatements हो सकती हैं. Okay. Now we come to question number 4. Who cannot be appointed as internal auditor in accordance with section 138 of Companies Act? Yes. ठीक है, क्वेश्चन आसान है, थोड़ा सा ट्रिकी है, वैसे क्वेश्चन आसान है. यस, क्वेश्चन नंबर 4. क्वेश्चन ध्यान से पढ़िए स्टूडेंट्स, टेक्स योर टाइम एंड देन आंसर. Who cannot be appointed as? Few males have come: Himanshu, Manisha, Diksha Agarwal, and Kanchan Kumari. Now let us see what about others. Yes, what about other guys? Who cannot be? Question is who cannot be appointed as internal auditor in accordance with section 138 of Companies Act? Tanisha, Darshan, Sonali, Bhumika. Now here guys, again in this question the response is of mixed type. You are all of you are giving your own opinions. Somebody is saying A, somebody is saying B, C वाले भी हैं और D वाले भी हैं. Okay, so the point is that none of you has understood the concept correctly, except those who have given the right option. Okay. So now we'll see what is the right option. So the students who have given the right option, okay, congrats to all of them. But let us see about all the options one by one. Who cannot be? Now the question is who cannot be. It means who is disqualified to act as an internal auditor. Who cannot be appointed as an internal auditor in accordance with section 138. An employee chartered accountant. आप तीनों वर्ड्स को ध्यान से पढ़ें. An employee chartered accountant. Chartered accountant can be internal auditor. We had studied as per section 138. He can be employee. We had learned this also. So this is he can be appointed. Can be appointed. Now we come to this requirement. A firm of company secretaries providing such services. So what is company secretary? You know, company secretary is also a separate profession. They are experts in field of company law. Okay. So a firm of company secretary is providing such services. इसका क्या मतलब है? It means that there is a firm consisting of partners and this firm is providing internal audit services. So here it is not employee of the company. So this is an outside firm, but this is an outside firm of professionals providing internal audit services. So what was section 138? Any professional can be appointed. He can be a chartered accountant, cost accountant, or any professional as may be decided by board. Okay. Now C, D, corporate lawyer. Who is a corporate lawyer? A lawyer, it means a lawyer who is a qualified lawyer who has completed his law course and who is dealing in company law. So he is having knowledge of company law. He is an expert in company law. So isn't law a profession? Tell me guys, क्या law profession नहीं है? Is law a profession or not? Law is also a profession. So a lawyer dealing in company law, as simple as that. He is a professional dealing in company law. So if board thinks so, he can be appointed. So बचा कौन सा? Statutory auditor of the company. This is the elimination round. However, a student who knows, he can immediately tick, he can immediately encircle statutory auditor, because he knows that statutory auditor cannot be internal auditor. Why? Because there would be a conflict of interest, and statutory auditor is specifically barred under Companies Act from providing internal audit services to a company. Okay. So why, if you do not know the answer directly, you can go by elimination round also, lamba rasta. Or if you know the answer directly, then just by seeing you can know that statutory auditor, oh, statutory auditor and internal auditor, these are two contradictory things. Statutory auditor cannot do internal audit. स्टैट्यूटरी ऑडिटर और इंटरनल ऑडिटर का इतना ही रोल है कि स्टैट्यूटरी ऑडिट, दैट इंटरनल ऑडिटर, statutory auditor can take assistance from internal auditor in course of performance of his duties, or he can rely upon the internal audit function of the company. He can rely upon the reports of the company, and he may make use of them in performing his audit. Okay. So is the question number 4 clear to you guys, to all of you? Because most of you had answered it wrongly. Mohit, your answer was right. And Sudhanshu's answer was also right. Komala had also written right. There were others also. Shivangini Rathore, you had also written it correctly. So guys, थोड़ा सा आपको you have to broaden your area of thinking and incorporate some skills in you. Okay. Now we come to question number 5. Yes. Which of the following function is usually not performed by an internal auditor? Which of the following functions is usually not performed by an internal auditor? Not. He is asking not. Which of the following functions is usually not performed by an internal auditor? कि आपके पास 4 ऑप्शंस हैं. 3 functions are performed by internal auditor, 3 functions are performed by internal auditor, and 1 out of these 4 functions is not performed by internal auditor. Now tell students, which of the following functions is usually not performed by internal auditor? 4 mails have come already. 5. Kanchan, Kumari, Darshan, Himanshu, Tanisha, Sudhanshu and Diksha. Other guys also send your mails. Which of the following functions is usually not performed by an internal auditor? See, guys, one more thing you have to remember while answering MCQs. When you are choosing the options out of 4, then you have to choose the option that is best, that is most appropriate. Remember this always. It may not be correct or totally incorrect, but you have to choose the option that is best out of those four. Okay. Yes, now most of you have answered correctly, but there are some, again, some laggers also. So we will take all the options one by one. Evaluating governance activities. तो प्राइमरी हमने पढ़ा था स्टूडेंट्स that it was there in the definition of internal audit that he gives suggestions to improve the governance mechanism of the company. तो सजेशन कैसे देगा गवर्नेंस मैकेनिज्म को इंप्रूव करने के, अगर उसने उसको इवेल्युएट ही नहीं किया होगा, अगर उसने उसको असेस ही नहीं किया होगा. सो ऑब्वियसली इट इज द फंक्शन ऑफ इंटरनल ऑडिटर. Evaluating risk management. Now this we had also understood in the definition of internal audit that he gives suggestions for making value addition and improvements to risk management system. So this is also function of internal auditor. Review of compliance with laws and regulations. This I had already told you by giving example of advance tax, payment of advance tax and TDS. Very simple example. We had also discussed example of compliance with pollution laws. So internal auditor reviews that the company is law compliant. It is not omitting to comply with laws, because such non-compliance can have not only financial consequences but monetary non-monetary, non-financial consequences also. Okay. So the promoters may land up in jail for violation of serious violation of laws. Okay. Now C is operational activities in finance department. तो मैंने तो स्टूडेंट्स पहले ही आपको बताया था, ऑडिट कोई भी हो, ऑडिटर he reviews work done by others. He does not perform that activity himself. अगर आपने ये बेसिक चीज पकड़ ली, अगर ये आपने बेसिक चीज अंडरस्टैंड कर ली, तो आप ऑडिटिंग के सब्जेक्ट में गलती कर ही नहीं सकते स्टूडेंट्स. पॉइंट है कि आप इतनी इंफॉर्मेशन पढ़ते हैं और उसमें बेसिक जो फंडामेंटल थ्रेड होता है वो उस चीज का भूल जाते हैं. सो दैट इज व्हाई you give wrong answers. That is why you cut sorry figures. So then Krishna, you are writing A. How it is A? I have explained. Mohit, you are writing B. How it is B? Risk management को इवेल्युएट करना और उसके बारे में सजेशन देना. तो भाई मोहित, वो तो इंटरनल ऑडिट का ऑडिटर का काम है बाय इट्स वेरी डेफिनेशन. ऑपरेशनल एक्टिविटीज इन फाइनेंस डिपार्टमेंट, इसका क्या मतलब है? इसका मतलब है फाइनेंस डिपार्टमेंट में क्या काम होता है? बिल्स की एंट्री करना, डाटा इनपुट करना, यही फाइनेंस डिपार्टमेंट में काम है ना. अकाउंट्स डिपार्टमेंट भी इसी का पार्ट है. ठीक है, कंपनी की क्या रिक्वायरमेंट्स है, बैंकर्स के साथ डील करना, यही काम है. सो ऑपरेशनल एक्टिविटीज, अगर इंटरनल ऑडिटर ये सारे काम खुद कर रहा है तो वो रिव्यू क्या करेगा स्टूडेंट्स? टेल मी how he would be reviewing his own work then, because उसको तो जो दूसरे लोगों ने काम किया है उसको रिव्यू करना है. तो ये ऑपरेशनल एक्टिविटीज इन फाइनेंस डिपार्टमेंट कैसे फंक्शन हो सकता है इंटरनल ऑडिटर का? मोहित, आपको समझ आ गई? यस, यू आर सेइंग गॉट इट सर. सो जो भी ऑप्शन है स्टूडेंट्स, उसको आपको 1-2 सेकंड में समझ जाना है, और आप समझोगे कैसे? जब आप वर्ड्स टर्म से रेगुलरली उनको पढ़ पढ़ के उनके साथ फेमिलियर हो जाएंगे। ओके, एंड नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज, which of the following statements is correct? Which of the following statements is correct? Yes, tell me guys. It pertains to audit risk and components of audit risk. Which of the following statements is correct? Which of the following statements is correct? Only Kanchan Kumari's mail has come. Yes, students, please send your mails faster. Which of the following statements is correct? Mails have stuck up, guys, or you are not sending? Some have come. So the answer is A. This is correct. Audit risk can be lowered by the auditor. I had told you in the beginning of chapter that the auditor plans the audit so as to lower his audit risk. Okay. Inherent risk, auditor has got no control, क्योंकि ये रिस्क तो कंपनी का है। अगर किसी ट्रांजैक्शन में कोई इनहेरेंट रिस्क है बिफोर एप्लीकेशन ऑफ कंट्रोल, तो रिस्क है, ऑडिटर उसके बारे में क्या कर सकता है? कंट्रोल रिस्क, अगर कंट्रोल सिस्टम अच्छे नहीं चल रहे तो ऑडिटर क्या करेगा? वो तो कंपनी की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, कोई कंट्रोल नहीं है। ये भी स्टेटमेंट गलत है और ये भी स्टेटमेंट गलत है। ऑडिट रिस्क बिलोंग्स टू क्लाइंट एंड कैन बी लोड बाय इट। ऑडिट रिस्क बिलोंग्स टू क्लाइंट, ये स्टेटमेंट पेटेंटली फॉल्स है। ऑडिट रिस्क बिलोंग्स टू ऑडिटर। सो कौन सी स्टेटमेंट बचती है? ए। सो ऑडिट रिस्क कैन बी लोअर्ड बाय द ऑडिटर। ओके, ऑल अदर स्टेटमेंट्स आर फॉल्स। Very simple question. And guys, Singh Rajiv Kumar, you are writing option B. How it is option B? Darshan, how you are stating option B? Inherent, I had told you, inherent risk and control risks are the risks of entity. These cannot be influenced by the auditor. आप पढ़िए तो सही। Yes, Shivangini, your mail has come. You have also written A. Your answer is correct. So we move on to next question. Which of the following statements is correct? Tell me. This is also simple. It's not tricky. It has not laid any trap. Simple, straightforward question. Which of the following statements is correct? Yes, when you know, Darshan, these are the components, then you must have remembered that inherent risk and control risks are entities risks. They cannot be influenced by the auditor. All that is in the hands of auditor is detection risk, what he has to check. So this is option A is correct answer. This is correct answer. Because if there is increased control risk, it means that control auditor has assessed that controls are likely to be deficient. So it would lead to audit risk. There would be greater chance of auditor expressing an inappropriate opinion on the financial statement. There would be, because why? There would be a greater chance of misstatements creeping in. So all the other options are in. So guys, आपको कुछ क्लैरिटी हुई? जो आपके माइंड में जो कॉबवेब्स बने हुए हैं, क्या वो क्लियर हुए हैं? प्लीज लेट मी नो. यस शुभम, योर मेल्स आर आल्सो कमिंग. एंड आपको ये टेक्निकल चैप्टर यू आर एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड इट, which was in the context of essay 315. And did you find the teaching and you find the questions enjoyable? Were you able to understand? Do give your feedback at all times. What are your difficulties and what further improvements can be made? Okay, so that is over for today. So see you again on coming Thursday for an entirely fresh chapter, that is chapter 5 on fraud and auditors' responsibilities in this regard. So it would be the chapter is quite enjoyable and topic is also quite interesting. Okay, so hope to see you on, all of you guys, on coming Thursday. Thank you so much. Thank you.